Welcome to Building the Future, hosted by Kevin Horick. With millions of listeners a month, Building the Future has quickly become one of the fastest rising programs, with a focus on interviewing startups, entrepreneurs, investors, CEOs, and more. The radio and TV show airs in 15 markets across the globe, including Silicon Valley. For full showtimes, past episodes, or to sponsor the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com.
Welcome back to the show. Today we have Rob Greig. He's the co-founder and co-CEO of Cornucopias. Rob, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show. I think what you guys are building is really innovative and cool. But maybe before we get into all that, let's get to know you a little bit better and start off with where you grew up.
Oh, yeah, sure. I grew up in Manchester, which is in the north of England in the UK. Manchester is famous for music, arts, and football, or soccer, as the Americans would say.
Sure.
I suppose in the early years that I lived quite a poor neighborhood, but I didn't really notice that. I played a lot of football with my brothers, and was my mum and dad. They were tough, hard-working, working-class Northerners, parents. Worked a few jobs to provide everything they could for the children. We had like a caravan on a holiday camp in the near the coast of Wales. So every weekend we would go to this campsite, and I suppose that's where I kind of first discovered the video arcade machines back in the 80s, like Ghost and Goblins and Outrun,
Sure.
Bubble Bobble, Double Dragon, or some amazing games. And I was absolutely obsessed with games. And then when home computers came out, I had every single console I could think of, the Atari 2600, Amstrad, Commodore 64, Amiga, ST. And then I had the ZX Spectrum when I was about 12. Sure. And that was probably the computer that eventually had set me on a path to becoming a programmer, although I didn't know that at the time. Do you want me to carry on?
Yeah, sure. No, this is awesome. Keep going.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I suppose from the early 80s, I started reading a series of these role-playing adventure books written by Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson. I don't know if you've seen it. The kind of choose your own adventure. So you'd sit down with a pen and paper and you'd read the story and be given options. Do you want to climb the mountain, go to this page, or do you want to go to the village? And you'd literally open. So, you'd fight monsters and roll dice. And I was just absolutely fascinated with this. And I would kind of write my own little adventures and then try and program them on the Spectrum. And I was just, just a little geek back in those days. I went to grammar school, which was a bit of a nightmare because I had to take 3 buses and a train. College and university in Manchester. Living at home still. I never moved away from home till later on. Okay. But I was always working, always obsessed with working. And then when I left university...
Sorry to cut you off. What did you take in university and why?
So at university, I took information systems because I just wanted to continue. At college, I discovered at college programming. Although I'd been a programmer since I was 12, I never actually knew it was a thing. And then I went into college and I learned about databases, and it was an actual proper job. It was like, this is incredible. So I continued that to university. Did 4 years at university, and one of those years was like a year off, and I actually managed to go down south and work for IBM for a year. IBM back in the 90s was massive, and that was a real eye opener, completely different from anything that I'd been used to before. So I left university. Again, moved down south and I began working for this really large electricity utility company. So I had a few years of corporate experience, and that was completely different world from the one that I knew up north. And I enjoyed being surrounded by these older, smartly dressed, clever people. But it frustrated the life out of me that all they wanted to do all day was drink coffee and have meetings. And all I wanted to do was just learn learn about databases, write code. I was obsessed. So it was bizarre. But so in
No,
the
I get
evenings,
that. I get that. I don't think that's bizarre at all.
it was honestly, it was surrounded by so many contractors because nobody actually lived in kind of Swindon. People moved
Right.
in, so I got a first taste of what contractors did. I suppose they'd earn loads of money, but they didn't do any work, which was, I liked the idea of earning lots of money, but I didn't like the idea of not not doing any work. But
Sure.
through one of these contractors, I actually started writing some software for a baking company in London. So I was working during the day, and then in the evening, I was programming on the weekend. So that was kind of my first, I suppose, where my entrepreneurial kind of life began, being surrounded and being in that world. And then after a few years of that corporate life, I sold my house, moved back up north, lived off the profits for a few years while I set up my very first company, and went into partnership with my best friend from school, who is actually also a founder of Cornucopias at the moment. And we built up a company in the real estate industry. I developed the software. He would be testing it. We wrote everything from 360-degree tours of houses, CRMs, data mining applications, and then we sold that business actually in 2007, just before the housing crisis
Oh yeah.
crash, to one of the largest real estate companies in the UK. So that was very, very lucky. Um, I suppose from then on, I had a number of long-term contracts, developing systems, and eventually moving into kind of business analysis, which was was really natural because I had kind of like the corporate background of working with different diverse people, but I was also a programmer. I felt really natural talking to developers, but kind of translating their speak into the corporate world. So that was a really natural transition later on in my career. And in the background of kind of contracting, I've always had some kind of a side hustle, working on bleeding edge, technology, because I always obsessed with wanting to work for myself. So I was working with SMS, Zigbee, Bluetooth, and then that eventually led me to blockchain back in 2017. That kind of brings us up to date, maybe the last 5 years.
No, that's cool, man. So, what got you kind of passionate about the blockchain and Web3? And then let's dive into what you're building today.
Yeah, so 2017 came around. Blockchain was all brand new. We were coming towards, I suppose, the top of that bull cycle. So it was everywhere, and that kind of died off then. But I discovered Web3. Early blockchain was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano, and a few others, XRP. So I stayed kind of in the space, trying to absorb as much as I could. And then in 2020, I think it was summer of 2020, I saw kind of like an advert for software developers, community software developers, to start building open source infrastructure on the Cardano blockchain. So I was still working a full-time job at the time, but I was one of the original 50 people that was invited to start Project Catalyst, which
That's
was
cool.
really, really exciting at the time. And then from then, so Project Catalyst is like a community funding where you put a submission in and you'd go through various, and if you got funds, you then build your software. And in Fund 3, I had one of my projects funded, and at the time, Charles Hoskinson, he was the CEO of Cardano, he was reading out all the various winners. And when he got to my project, he goes, "Oh yeah, open source.net. We need that." And so he just kind of added something different than he did to other projects. And then at the time, Josh Jones, the other co-CEO of Cornucopias, he was running his own YouTube channel, and he saw Charles say we need that, and he was interested in why Charles would remark on my project. He kind of looked me up. We had a bit of a YouTube interview, And then at the end of it, we just got chatting and said, I've been planning this kind of game, and that's the start of of Cornucopias, really.
Okay, so what made you though decide to actually go for it? Was it like
Yeah.
his acknowledgement of it, or you were going to do that no matter what, or like walk us through that, and then let's dive into cornucopias.
Yeah, I was always. I mean, I was fully invested, as in time wise
Okay.
and passion wise, in the blockchain. At that time, I was fully convinced. I'd never discovered really community until I got into blockchain. Before I've been working for myself and I've been working with other people, and you'd go about your own way. But until I actually got immersed in blockchain, the community element hit me really, really hard. They were so welcoming, especially being the start of the project. So I really wanted to go all in, and in fact, it's what we did. I gave up my job. Josh did as well. We self-funded Cornucopias from the start, and we just really poured everything we could. There was just four co-founders, two in America, two in the UK. We didn't actually meet each other face to face physically for a good 7 months, and because Josh was already in the community and I was already embedded within the community, we kind of naturally had a following, and people really liked us, and they knew about us, and we built a number of prototypes. We only had a team of about 6 people then. By the end of the year, we probably had about 7 or 8 people. We built prototypes for the first 13 months. So we did our white paper, we did prototypes to show what we could actually do before we actually did our very first NFT sale. Because I think it was really important for us to show that we could deliver something rather than just come out the blocks and just say, just give us loads of money and just put your trust in us. I think, working with people in the past, people want to see that you are legit in the space, and that you can actually deliver what you're going to. And obviously you know, everything from there kind of just took off, and it's just been amazing ever since.
Very cool. So, what exactly are you building? And let's dive into that.
Yeah, I mean, Cornucopias it's an MMORPG,
Okay.
Web3, so it's blockchain based, and where the blockchain comes into it is parts of the games will be decentralized. And with with most games, within games you have your characters, and those characters have various skins. You can have vehicles. You have all types of games that are all kinds of things that have always been in games. But the beauty of being on the blockchain is you can actually own these assets. So over the
Yeah.
years, I must have bought hundreds of skins within Fortnite, but I don't own them. Those are owned by Epic Games. If they turn them off, or they want to ban me, all that money is kind of just wasted. So having, when blockchain came around and you could realize that you actually do own your own assets. I mean, that's a major feature for me. Um, Games have always had some kind of virtual currency in them as well, so that translates absolutely, amazing to blockchain as well, because that could be your native coin, your native token. Um, so, but I think one of the biggest, one of the most exciting part, he's working on the very, I suppose the start, being one of the pioneers in the space of this up and coming industry. When we started, there was very little games that were on blockchain. It was more seen as kind of like the future of DeFi. So having the challenge of having building something that could be disruptive in the space where players own their own assets, but also being built differently. So with traditional games, AAA games, you wouldn't even know they were being built. After they'd come out, they'd have like a multi-million-dollar advertising campaign. You'd see Spider-Man 2's here on every single poster in the LAN, and that's how they would build community, either on existing IP, or they would just blast it out there. So one of the challenges in Web3 is actually building your game really early on and being immersive within the community, and that for me was you know, it's so exciting to see if we could actually do that. Um, so there was lots of reasons why we wanted to, come in and give this a go. But for me, the challenge of building a community involved game in a new, upcoming, exciting space is it's just too good an opportunity to miss.
Okay, so walk us through, like, how does people actually play this thing?
So it's an MMORPG. So what we are doing, it's set in the lore is we're in a parallel universe so
Okay,
it's based on the Earth. The Earth has had a calamity. Society has got an advanced technology background, so we've actually transcended to the sky. So humans live in these big floating bubbles, these massive domes. Um, these are
okay,
these domes are 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers, so they're absolutely massive spaces. And because we're building them using UE5 with all the power of nanites and lumens, they look absolutely incredible from graphics wise. Um,
sure, yep.
we're building 12 different themed sectors, we call them. Each sector has 3 of these huge worlds, so there'll be 36 of these absolutely massive domes floating in the sky, and players will actually own land plots on each of these different sectors. So in traditional games, you will go into a server, you'll have a session, and you'll all be going in the same building, and you'll all be on the same. Well, that doesn't happen within our game. The space is persistent. So whatever's built on your land or your neighbor's land, that will remain there and evolve over time. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to keep a consistency of the game. So all the artwork we build ourselves in house. We've got a team,
That's
internal
cool.
team of 33 at the moment, and there's
Oh wow.
just over 50, including contractors working on the game. We've got 2 new people starting actually next week. So we build all the assets themselves. We do all our own animations. We have our own developers, our own planning, QA. We build a lot. So it's an MMORPG. So you're wandering around these big districts. You are doing challenges. You're doing mining, fishing, logging. You're doing crafting, gathering various raw materials, and figuring out recipes, putting things together, and making tools, and then going through those different game loops. And then in and amongst that, you are part of a district as well. So as well as playing as your own on your own, you're actually part of a district. So you're building up your individual districts, and we have district versus district competitions.
Oh, that's
There's
good.
various tasks that you'd expect in kind of like an RPG game, and you have your own character. And then dotted amongst that, we have all these experiences, kind of mini games. So one of them is where you go to a megadome, and this megadome, which is currently live at the moment, we call it Kalido Valley. You wander into the megadome. You work your way over into the racing track, and that's where you fly these really high speed um, vehicles that are actually NFTs. So the players own their own NFTs. They go into the game, and if you own like a bubble jet, we call one of them, or a javelin, you will actually be flying your own vehicle, and everything you do with that vehicle is now tracked on the blockchain forever. So every race you'll ever do, every championship you win, everything is tracked there, and via APIs will make that available to the public, and people can build all kinds of services off the back of it. So that's one of the experiences. In the future, we'll have fishing competitions. We'll turn these into esports. So we have the backdrop of an MMORPG, community-driven economy, and all these other experiences that come together. So it's an ambitious project, but it's going really, really well.
That's really cool, especially that you get to keep this stuff, right? Because you're
Yeah.
to your point, like especially if you quit something or whatever, like it's gone, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So walk us through. Okay, so like how for people that maybe don't understand kind of Web3, the NFT space, what does that kind of really mean when you say like, every race is tracked, they own their vehicles, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So in Web3, we have what's called NFTs. So you have you have a wallet, a Web3 wallet, and that's connected to which is connected to your computer. So using cryptocurrency, you well, when various sales are on, you go to the sales and sales for various vehicles or various skins. But when you actually purchase them, instead of then going into kind of like a central database, which happens in every game, these now actually sit on a blockchain, which is a decentralized network that's hosted on a copy of the blockchain is on thousands and thousands of different PCs throughout the world, so it can never go down. So so you have your virtual wallet and your assets, your coins or your vehicles, they all sit there. And then when you're playing the game, as you log into the game, you connect to your wallet. So you just log in with your user details, connect your wallet, and now the game knows what actual assets you have. So
That's
because it's
cool.
on the blockchain, this also, and you own it, this means that you can sell your vehicles whenever you want away from the game, or buy them or trade them or swap them or do whatever. And the next time you log into the game will just read your wallet again and it will just know some have appeared or disappeared or they're staying the same. And then as you're racing, as the game is saving whether you came first, second, or third, that is held again in a database, but that database or ledger is also saved on the blockchain throughout the world. So again, that is then actually stored forever, which is crazy. So then when you go and sell your NFT in the future, that whole history goes with it. So you'll know who's owned it in the past, what championship, what cups, the whole history. Just like in the real world, when you buy a car and you have your whole
That's
history
cool.
of everything that's ever happened to it, that it just goes straight with it, which is really new for gaming and yeah, one of the many innovations that blockchain and Web3 gives us.
Sure. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into that because tech's kind of been all doom and gloom, especially kind of
Yeah,
NFTs and everything's kind of and Web3 and everything's kind of been getting a bad rap the last couple of years. I think companies like what you're doing and there's a number of other companies are actually building really innovative stuff in the space, but I just don't think it's covered enough right now, right? Like trying to explain NFTs to even like non-techie friends, they're just like,
yeah.
it's just an image. It's like, no, 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 it can be so much more than that, right? And they don't understand. So where are we kind of at? And what are your predictions and thoughts about the space right now? Because it seems like the hype died down, but people are starting to actually build really cool, innovative stuff in kind of this space. Do you agree with that, or what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, no, I do agree with it. I think what we've seen on the previous bull market is there was a lot of hype around about NFTs, but those NFTs didn't have any utility. So they were just a JPEG that just sat in somebody's wallet. But what we're seeing now, those or some of those projects have disappeared, but
Yeah,
those that have kept building in the bear market, they're now 2 or 3 years old. Us ourselves, we're coming up to nearly 3 years in July. So we've had lots of time now to continue to build our game, flesh out some of the components, and we still launched our game in August in pre-alpha. So we're not even alpha or beta yet. So very, very extremely early in terms of game releases. And now what you can see is the utility of the vehicles. You can actually go and drive your vehicle. You can put on these various skins. You can fly around the game as well, because our vehicles have dual utility. One of them is actually racing in the whole esports, but then as you're going from dome to dome doing your crafting and you need to transport your goods, well, you can put them in the boot, or you can fly people from one dome to the other, put on your radio as you go around. So having utility, which I think is the natural evolution, obviously, for NFTs, that for me is a really great springboard to show people the actual power of what NFTs can do. They're not just the JPEG, they do actually have utility.
No, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So how do you or plan on monetizing the platform and the game?
So it's very very symbiotic. So we obviously will have vehicles that we will sell. So
Okay.
that will raise revenue for the game. Um, but the whole game is player driven economy. So as players come into the game and they own the land and they're farming, they're earning int internal virtual currency, which they will be able to then um, craft other items, and those items then they'll be able to craft into NFTs. And then when they craft them into NFTs, and we kind of call this build and earn, they now have something that is worth, a real world money. So they can play the game, grind the game, and all those hours that they're putting in, they're actually now getting something that they can extract some value out of the game, and then go and sell it on, or they can continue to play it and just keep grinding and building more and more NFTs for themselves. So there's lots of opportunities that way. There's obviously advertising opportunities within the game, because our game is kind of like a metaverse as well. There's metaverse elements where we'll
Right.
have the real world and B2B and Web 2, as we call them, the traditional space. They will be able to come into our game. And like Toledo Valley is the space where our racing esports happens. So as you enter into Toledo Valley and you fly in the hangar and you come up, you're into this huge space where we have different vehicle showrooms. So you can go in there, look at the NFTs. You can look at our NFTs have different manufacturers. So you can go into the Bubble Jet store, look at those flying vehicles. You can go into the Valley Raceworks store, look at those. You can go into there's hotels. There will be shops where people can go in. So Web 2 has an opportunity to come in and get their brand name on there. We will have stages where we will have live music that happens within there, and it's then the lights come down, all the neon lights come out at night, and it's very much kind of inspired by the Vegas Strip. So you'll go down
Sure.
there with the community. Remember, you're all in there together, going to these various experiences. You'll pop off, go fly in the esports, and then you'll come back and enjoy some music, and hidden within that whole space, because we didn't just want to release kind of like in the early days just a walking simulator. We've built in what we call these little holocaches. It's kind of a find and seek. So you've got this huge space where you're wandering around, and we've hidden these 160 at the moment different holocaches where you wander around all the different spaces trying to find them. There's common ones, uncommon, rare, legendaries, and mythic. So you have a game within a game.
That's
You
cool.
run into various areas, and there's escape puzzles in there. So you go into a room, so you have to figure out, first of all, you get the holocache, and then you have to figure out how to get out of these places, and there's compasses and running around. So there's lots of those elements that are already in there at the moment. But then when you pair that with, you're also running around with community and you're chatting with them with voice and chat together, suddenly the game takes on a whole different area. Because I was brought up with games like Lara Croft, where you go and solve puzzles and
Sure.
you wander around big open world. But when you do that with 40 or 50 other people with you, and you get to know them, and you're chatting to them, that it takes on a whole different type of gameplay. And it's really, I find it really addictive. New people come in, and then people are obsessed. Come on, and we'll show you where your last one is. And so in the future, what we're currently building at the moment is the whole tasks system as well. So we'll be also be able to drive people around. So, go and collect some hollow caches, go and craft this, go and explore this area, and then build something up together as the community, as more and more of these features expand.
Very cool. So at some point, are you going to let other people kind of build onto the world and expand? Or is that kind of just you guys are going to control all that?
Yes. So at the moment, what we're doing is, because these worlds these worlds are absolutely huge, and they're all built, like I say, hand built. They're not procedurally generated at all. Our developers are planning out the land plots and placing all the trees down on the plots, and building everything up naturally. So the players will go in, and as they're crafting and they're building up their land plots and putting the buildings on, that's one element of the game. Another element of the game is what we call custom domes. And the
Okay.
custom domes, again, are NFTs where players can own them, and they now actually own their own dome. So these are smaller domes. These come in 5 different sizes, and on there we're giving them building kits where they'll be able to go in from a blank canvas, build whatever they want in there, and open up their own experiences. So if they want to do a concert in there, or if they want to have a shop, or if they want to have a PvP game, or if they want to do them all, they can do them all in there. We'll give them the tools and the framework to do that, and then they'll be able to advertise their space within the various Toledo Valley games, and we'll have ways of people to be able to travel to their different domes and play them, and they'll have a leaderboard. So yeah, the custom side of it, the custom domes, is what really expands the game then into a whole other type of gameplay.
Very cool. And then I'm assuming that if I build a custom dome, at some point I could turn it into an NFT and potentially sell it to somebody else.
Your custom dome is an NFT, yes. So
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you've bought that custom dome, and you can put other NFTs within that custom domes. You can build it up into your own business. Build a brand name up from scratch.
That's
When
cool.
people come in, you can sell tickets, experiences to come into your dome, and then you can either continue that as an ongoing business, or you can then sell that NFT and everything that comes with it.
That's very cool. So I'm curious, is there like like how do like or how big I guess is the game so far, and how many people are playing? Because from my understanding,
Yep.
it's quite big already.
So currently live, we have Toledo Valley, which is kind of like this Vegas strip that backs onto the racing game. So in the racing game, so this Toledo Valley itself is 9 kilometers by 9 kilometers. It's slightly bigger than a sector. But these vehicles fly at over 1,000 miles per hour, so you need a lot of space to cover them. We have 2 tracks. If you own one of our flying vehicles, you can come in now, download the game onto a PC. As long as you've got the qualifying graphics card, which is about 3060, you can come in and you can test the game. So again, different to traditional gameplay, which have kind of like closed testing. Our testing is with you just own the NFT, and you can come in and you can start testing early on.
That's cool.
We have over 10,000 NFTs that have the ability to come in and test. Some people have more than one, but yeah, anyone can come in at any one point. We have over 100 people that are testing the game daily. But we're very early in terms of infrastructure. We're ready to roll out the next phase soon, but at the moment we only have 2 servers. So we have a European server and an American server. We don't currently have a character creator yet. That's coming out in the next month or so. So when you load into the game, we have a choice of 29 different pre-built avatars. So you can go through them. Some of them have mining kits on, some login. You can go into the game, then wander around. We have a little mini soccer game in there as well. That's very, very early. But the racing game itself is really quite advanced. I would say if you come in, it's really, really exhilarating. And we've just done a new update now, as we've added another flying vehicle in which will be up for sale in a few weeks from now. So that's Cledo Valley. That's a test, kind of like the first world.
Sure.
But players don't own any land in that. So because we're building agile, we wanted to kind of have a smaller environment. Because although it's massive for racing, the actual kind of like the Vegas strip is relatively small.
Yeah.
Then we've also built in the first sector. The first sector is called Solace. Now Solace will be built. Will contain 3 large worlds. So Solace 1, 2, and 3. All 3 of those will be 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers. Solace 1 is now complete in terms of artwork, land plots, number of passes, and we're just going through the final QA soon. So pretty soon we will release Solace 1 to our testers.
Okay.
And then thousands of people will be able to really see what we're building, because this thing is absolutely enormous. It takes about between, well, as the crow flies, probably half an hour to walk from one side of Solace to the other. But there's
Oh, wow.
massive mountains, there's hills, there's thick forests. So there is days and days and hours of exploration just to happen in Solace, which is kind of like Colorado. It has all these forests and rivers, and eventually this year we will add more and more features into that. So you'll be able to not only go exploring, you'll be able to do camping in there, build up your land plots. We will have creatures, so there'll be bears running in there. There's definitely elements of danger within the MMO. There'll be fishing spots in there where you'll be able to go in and do fishing. So Solace 1 is almost ready to release. Solace 2 is, I would say, 3/4 of the way through. We spent a lot of time on Solace 1, making sure all our procedures are correct. We spent over a year perfecting everything, how we're going to build it, how we want the different elements to work, so that when we come to the other Solaces and the other 2 zones that are coming this year as well, we now have a pretty fast pipeline. So Solace 2 is almost ready to go into test. Solace 3, we've broken ground into Solace 3. So I think Solace 1, 2, and 3 will all 3 will be released in the next couple of months. We're then working on Esperanza, which is the second zone. Again, that's 3 huge world. That's more like a Western barren kind of artwork. Again, players will be able to own land in there. We've sold land in all 9 of these sectors. That it was incredible that they all sold within minutes, which was just absolutely crazy. Just as we were coming into the bear market, that they just kind of flew. And then the third one is more like an Oriental style. That's called Fortune. So all 9 of these will be these massive worlds will be released this world alongside Cledo Valley, which is already there. So we'll have 10 huge domes. We will also have the activities and the progression system built in there. We'll have the character creator, which is coming very, very soon. We will have fishing. We have mining. We did a demo last year in Vegas of what mining looks like. So we had lots of people running around that on 2 conferences. So that's exciting when that comes in, because people will then be able to go into Solace, go down into the depths, do some mining for some of those raw materials. And again, there will be lots of elements of danger in there, as people found out when they were in Vegas. And that's kind of this year. So there's lots to come this year, and lots more to come.
Very cool. So you've obviously been in this space a long time. What advice do you give to people that are looking to maybe build in the NFT, Web3, kind of this new version of the internet, a natural kind of progression?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the I suppose the lessons that we learned and helped us is not just to jump straight in. You need to to learn the different spaces of not just from a technology point of view, but from a community, really understand how to build a community, get involved with other projects. If you are kind of on your own, I mean, we only started with four of us, you know, don't don't let that dissuade you. Work with other people, ask, get with like-minded people, start projects together, and just really, really jump in, kind of learn. If you follow the same um, route that we did of building the prototypes first, make sure that you can actually deliver, then when you go to have your NFT sales, you will have confidence that you will do. I've seen so many projects that, because they're kind of techies, they start off with the techie route, then you get to the part where, yeah, we're going to build this, we have this really exciting, and then you sell the NFTs. Maybe the NFTs don't sell out, or maybe they do sell out. Both of those give you issues, because one of them, now, how you don't have enough money to complete your project, and the other one, you do have the money, but how do I actually get the project? Because now you've got a community that's when the Web3 are like.
Oh yeah.
But one of I suppose, going back to what we said a while ago, what made me actually pull the trigger and want to jump in and give my job up and go on this is because when I met Josh and Jeff, Ant and myself, we're developers, we're testers. Jeff in America has got a security side to him. He's a developer as well. He's built a company and sold that onto Semantic. Josh is an entrepreneur as well. He's got a huge marketing background, huge business, building businesses. So all our skills actually work together. So we weren't just tech people. This has been some of the failings in the past. When I stopped and started various companies, I got them so far. I could build the stuff, we could test the stuff, we could have a great project, but we've got no idea how to actually get it out and sell it to other people and see them. So you have all this. You have to remember that building an NFT project with the community, when you take money off people, you are now actually a business, and you have to treat that
Yeah.
like a business. You don't want to run out of money. You need to pay your taxes. You need to have HR eventually. You have to have a plan of how you're going to build your company up, or if things kind of go sour, what is going to be your backup plan? So yeah, don't just think, I'm just going to go out there and we're going to sell NFTs, we're all going to have Lambos and it's going to be great and the community are going to love us. You have to actually have a plan of how you're going to deliver, how you're going to sustain it, and then treat that like a business. And that's, for me, is another reason why I really enjoy this space, because I really do enjoy building teams and I'm watching kind of young people and more experienced people kind of work together with and literally just build and build and build, but also build a community within ourselves. So yeah, NFTs are a serious. You can just dabble if you just want to dabble, and you don't. Obviously, I'm talking about building a game.
Yeah.
If you just want to dabble and you just want the utility of a PFP, for example, then yeah, you can just sell them as NFTs. But yeah, if you want to build a game, definitely treat it like a business.
No, I think that's really good advice. So you said you have 4 co-founders.
Yes.
How, like, it's hard enough to find one, never mind more than one. So
Yeah.
how did you find your co-founders, and what advice do you give to people to actually find them? Because that's really, really challenging in my experience.
Yeah. Well, I met Anthony at school. So,
Right.
so that is within business, and I found this over the years. You can have the best product, you can have absolutely everything, but
Yeah.
if you don't have solid foundations, if your founders don't know each other or don't get on, or they have ego problems, when you do hit some success, or in the bad times, things will fall apart. So having a solid partner like Anthony, I met him at 12, so I've now known him over 35 years.
Yeah.
We've set up previous businesses together, so we have always started our businesses together. So we knew we had a solid foundation. When I met Josh, Josh had known Jeff similar. He'd
Okay.
known him for decades as well. Um, Definitely a risk because I'd never met Josh or Jeff before, and they'd never met us before. So we spent time, but I also knew of Josh's reputation within the industry, and so that's
Okay.
important as well. If people do have a history in the space, you do need to do your due diligence, and you need to work with them. Even like I say, we built our prototype. We didn't sell a thing for 13 months. That's kind of like a honeymoon period. Are we going to get on together? Are we going to be able to work together every single day? Remote? Are we going to be able
Yeah.
to do we trust each other? You can't kind of do that from day one. You have to build that up over time. And then only
Yeah.
when it's going to work. I mean, we'd already kind of gone in financially. So there was already kind of risk, but yeah, in building up that, my best advice, go with people that you can trust or have a reputation, and that reputation they don't want to lose, because it is really, really difficult. But yeah, try not to run out of money, and try not to fall out with your founders. it's, it's a lot harder, easier said than done.
Yeah. No, that's fair. We're kind of coming to the end, but is there any other advice you'd like to pass on to people that maybe you wish you knew earlier on in your career, or just any other kind of final thoughts?
Earlier in my career, as you go from various jobs to jobs, you are working with different people. You are learning different skills, and some of them work out, some of them failures. But failures, you can learn a lot from failing, and that
Yep.
can then lead on to the next one. When you're kind of young, you've got more to you're probably living at home. You can take a little bit more risks, but don't go all in on things. Like I say, as I've been building all my businesses up, even when I was working for these other companies, I always had a side hustle. So the side hustle was always something really interesting. Don't jump in, don't give up your day job until you kind of have some finances in place. You have that backup plan, and that's probably been the good way for me. I've been able to scratch the itch over the years of working on my own projects while still having a full-time job to help me support through that, because when you do go all in, you literally are all in. The pressure's on yourself. At the moment now, like
Yep.
I say, we have 50 people, so we're responsible now for 50 different families, and that would be a nightmare. But you can't build that up from day one. It took us a good 3 years to get to that position. But that first year, that's one of the hardest parts. Starting a company from scratch, that's where you're taking a big risk, but
Yeah.
you need you need to kind of not do too many big risks at the same time. So yeah, figure out who you want to work with, have a trial period, but at the same time keep your full-time job at the back. But eventually, if it does work out and you manage to go kind of all in and start your own company, and you get to 3 years, it's such an amazing position. And we've not even started now. We the game is really, really early. Where we're going to be in 3, 4, 5 years from now is it's just so exciting, and the space itself, it just seems to be warming up as well. We're disrupting an entire industry.
Oh,
It's
100%.
incredible.
That's very cool, man. Well, how about we close the show with mentioning where people can get more information about yourself, the game, and any other links you want to mention?
Yes, we have. There's a couple of things. Our website is cornucopias.io. So that's cornucopia with an S.io. We're on Twitter, Cornucopias Game. We also have what we built from the start is we built our own, what we call a Copy Wiki. So that's over 400 pages of our history, the lore, the game, the NFTs, everything you want to know. That's on copywiki.cornucopias.io. And obviously we have Discord. Our Discord is the first place to go onto our website, find our Discord, go in, say hello, and you will meet the friendliest people in Discord that will help you. They will show you around the game. They'll talk about NFTs. They'll explain everything from you. And then in the future, Cornucopias will be free to play. So you don't actually need to have an NFT to play the game. You just need an NFT at the moment, just while we're going through the testing phase.
No, makes a lot of sense. Well, Rob, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be on the show, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you, and have a good rest of your day.
Yep, you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. Please visit our website at buildingthefutureshow.com to join the free community, sign up for our newsletter, or to sponsor the show. The music is done by Electric Mantra. You can check him out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.